Honestly, I didn't think I'd watch the It Ends With Us movie, but I did, and I have some thoughts. Hello and welcome back to the Looking Glass World. My name is Aradhana Matthews, and today we are talking about something I didn't think I'd be talking about again, and that's It Ends With Us, but this time the movie and all the drama around it. To start with, let's look at how the book compares to the movie. Now, we all know my thoughts on the book, and they're pretty strong thoughts, but if you haven't seen that video, go watch it now, then come back here. So if you're still here, I assume you have watched that video. And you'll know that even though the book is talking about trauma and abusive relationships, it still comes across as a little bit juvenile, especially because of the language that is used. And this is a line that I think I'm quoting verbatim because it just is seared into my eyeballs. And that is when Lily Bloom, our protagonist, meets Ryle Kincaid and they start talking on this rooftop. She says, "He looked at me. He really looked at me."
He looks at me, like really looks at me. His eyes meet mine and he just stares hard. Like all my secrets are right there on my face. I've never seen eyes as dark as his. Maybe I have, but they seem darker when they're attached to such an intimidating presence.
Because this is such a serious topic that I felt like it could have been done with a lot more nuance. Books like The Color Purple, A Thousand Splendid Suns, both deal with like trauma, especially when it comes to like women in abusive relationships, fighting for their agency and freedom. It's very painful to read, but at the same time, it's done with so much finesse and does justice to the experiences of the female protagonists. I don't feel like that really came through in the book. It Ends With Us. But again, a lot of people have loved it, so just one woman's opinion. But that being said, I feel like the movie was a little bit more mature because I could believe that the things that were happening in a movie would be things that adults would say and do. So while the premise remains the same, so for example, in that same rooftop scene, their dialogues are a lot more direct, a lot more mature. In the book, when Ryle is trying to woo Lily Bloom, he does this whole drama of I don't date people, I only sleep with people. When they do end up sleeping together, it's in a party for his sister and he carries her off in an entire crowd to have sex with her. And then after all that talk of I don't date, he's suddenly obsessed with her, loves her, wants to marry her. It's just, you see what I mean by a little bit, like it's very adolescent in the highs and lows of the emotion that it goes through. However, the movie does not have that. So like the way that their relationship progresses, yes, there are cheesy parts in like romantic, all of that. We know I don't love it, but it's okay. I can let it go. But these main sort of milestones in their relationship and how they take it forward is still believable. It's rational. It's fine. Now, when it comes to the main sort of trauma and abuse that the protagonist goes through, the cycle with her mother being in an abusive relationship with the father, exploring that and how her relationship with Ryle Kincaid, she starts to see danger signs and that the cycle is repeating. I feel like, again, the movie has done it more justice than the book. The book, I felt, was a little bit more obvious. The movie kind of leaves that gray space of where Lily Bloom is questioning whether is she, overthinking something? Was this an accident? Maybe she's just, she's not reading the situation correctly. They play to that a little bit more than they do in the book. In the book, it was very clear to me, very black and white, when this was going down and those abusive moments when he raised his hand to her, things like that. I didn't really see as much gray area. In the movie, they kind of do it so that you also wonder, was it an accident? Was it not? And then they loop back when it finally clicks into place and it like topples to a point of no return. And then she starts to recognize, oh, I've been not paying attention to certain signs. And one thing I liked about the movie is they called out the behavior when Lily Bloom meets Ryle Kincaid for the very first time on the rooftop. If you remember in my video, the very first interaction they have, he is kicking a chair, he's throwing a tantrum, he's real angry. In the book, she says, oh, he's got a healthy outlet or something along those lines. And I'm like, come on, this is like an obviously, I mean, I didn't go straight to abuse, but like immature, low EQ behavior. And it's just like ignored in the book. But in the movie, they loop back. So when she's thinking about, oh, I was right, these were moments of like red flags I should have paid attention to, the first thing they call out is the rooftop. And I'm glad they called out the rooftop because that's something, I mean, at least I noticed it immediately. It's a red flag. And I like that the movie also recognizes that as well. On a much more superficial front, I liked the visuals of the movie. The flower shop actually looked pretty good, I have to say. And I don't know what they did with Blake Lively's costumes and lighting and everything, but she looked stunning throughout the movie. And I think in an interview, she said something along the lines of, we don't see too many messy women in cinema. And speaking of messy, now we come to the drama that has been surrounding this movie. And I have to say, like, there is something poetic about it because to me, the book was a mess. And that same mess is kind of like an art mimics life kind of thing happening in the real world. The movie was fine as a standalone thing, but all around it, there's been drama. And it's just so matching. And I was just like, wow, I love watching this unfold. First thing I think that everyone wasn't too happy about was the way that Blake Lively might have been seen as trivializing the movie in some interviews. A friend of mine sent me this video, which I think is a pretty straightforward explanation of how the internet received one thing that Blake Lively said, which was like, grab your friends, wear your florals, and come see It Ends With Us.
It Ends With Us is in theaters now, so grab your friends, wear your florals, and head out to see it.
Grab your striped pajamas because you're not going to want to miss this. Bring your oxygen tanks because this movie is going to take your breath away. Grab your friends and get all dolled up. Wear your purple. Put on your bathing suit and get ready to take a bite out of this movie. Quit horsing around and put on your riding boots and boogie on down to the theater. Gear up in camo because this movie is going to blow you away.
So this obviously makes it sound like it's some kind of rom-com and people were not happy about it. And I believe it was like there were multiple times that she was talking about the clothes and the XYZ instead of the actual seriousness of the film, and people did not take to that too well. I don't know how much of this is true, but there's a lot going on. So I'm sharing some of that, where in that article, somebody in the crew was talking about how Blake Lively was definitely a little bit tone deaf while this was going on. And I think when they were filming, it was still in the peak of the writer's strike. And at that time, Blake Lively brings her children to set to raise money for horses and sick people. If that is true, yikes. She also said that Ryan Reynolds played a key role in writing the rooftop scene, but according to the screenwriter, Christy Hall, she had no idea that Ryan Reynolds had a part in this, so things are like not adding up. So apparently Blake Lively also commissioned an entire separate edit of the film. She was a producer of the film, and the director is her co-star who plays Ryle Kincaid, and his name is Justin Baldoni. Yeah, so Justin Baldoni's directing and acting. Blake Lively is producing and acting. She has commissioned a separate edit of the film, and apparently the two of them, there's video of them like arguing on set. Now, Justin Baldoni also, people are saying he fat shamed her, but I don't know. It's about her weight. She's recently given birth, I think. And apparently he asked his trainer how to properly lift her and how much she weighed so that he wouldn't hurt his back. Now, here's the thing. Usually, I tend to always give the woman the benefit of the doubt because there's more than enough people who love to hate on women. But in this case, I feel like it's a question of how things were said. I don't know, if the man really has back problems and he privately asked his coach or trainer, how do I lift this weight without hurting myself? I don't see that as a problem. However, if it was done in a way that was meant to be hurtful and she was in the room, or he said to other people there and was like, how much does she weigh? I don't want to hurt my back. Then yeah, that's not right. But I don't know. This is all gossip and rumors and nonsense, but it is all a mess. Oh, then another thing is footage has resurfaced of Blake Lively in an interview way back when, like several years ago, where the interviewer said something nice about the baby bump and complimented her. At that time, she was pregnant as well. And then she said, "Thank you, I like your bump too." And the interviewer was not pregnant. And then there were also things circulating that she was mean, she's not nice, she's very tone deaf, she's not the right person to be talking about this film. And then it's kind of negatively impacted the reviews of the film also because of the way that she's been promoting it. But at the end of the day, this is a mess. I'm just watching it as an outsider and I'm thoroughly entertained. But also these are human beings involved, and I don't know. We all know how the internet loves to edit things and take things out of context, and I will still give everyone, Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni, benefit of the doubt. But in the meantime, I'm going to focus on what I know, which is the book and the movie. And bottom line is, I feel like the movie has definitely done a better job at portraying this kind of story than the book. I don't know if you agree with me or not, but that's it. And with that, we're going to stop before I get trolled as well for this. But do let me know. I want to know if you thought the book was better or the movie was better. But in the meantime, if you want some book recommendations that I loved, head to my Instagram at @LookingGlassWorld. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.